I would like to take a moment before we get into today's main episode and to talk about my sponsor for the podcast. Podmatch is a new podcasting site dedicated to all podcasters. The platform helps hosts get connected with potential guests to appear on their show, as well as allow guests to find podcasts that will give them a chance to share their story. Podmatch offers many tools to help organize your page, from to-do lists to episode planning to potentially appearing on a leaderboard. Podmatch has it all. The best part, you have the potential to get paid. And who doesn't like to get paid from home? I like to. With an easy sign up, you can start connecting with podcasters and guests immediately. I have been a part of Podmatch since the beginning of May, and I have got to say that it was the best decision I've ever made because Podmatch helps your podcast grow. It helps you get connected with people that have very interesting, very compelling background stories that are just waiting for their story to be shared. So if you are a host or guest and would like to start building professional relationships, explore more opportunities, and have your story shared, I highly suggest that you sign up with Podmatch today by going to joinpodmatch.com/lethal venom to start expanding your network in seconds. I would like to give another huge thank you to Podmatch for sponsoring this episode. Now on to our main episode, and again, you can sign up at joinpodmatch.com/lethal venom to begin your podcasting journey today. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Lethal Venom Podcast, the show where I talk about anything I want with the honest to God truth, no lies told. Today, I'm joined by Mr. Joshua Daniel. He is the founder and president of Hero Games Charity and is the founder and CEO of Counterculture Solutions. With over 20 years in special operations and 9 deployments serving in the 75th Ranger Regiment and Special Forces, Joshua has lived through the toughest situations and learned what it takes to lead, adapt, and dominate. As the driving force behind Hero Games Charity, he channels his passion for honoring fallen heroes by creating impactful events that bring the community together in support of Gold Star families. His unique perspective from the front lines to everyday challenges offers a no-nonsense approach to life's hardest lessons. In addition to his professional achievements, Joshua has been married for nearly 20 years and is a proud father of 4 children, grounded his mission in family purpose and lasting impact. So, Joshua, thank you so much for coming on. I cannot wait to hear your story today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Noah.
So, I kind of pretty much said everything in the intro, but feel free to kind of go a little bit more into detail about what you do and kind of, I guess, start from the beginning of how this all kind of started for you.
Yeah, wow. So I guess we could pick up at the end of my career. I just wrapped up almost 21 years in special operations. As you said, spent my career split between the 75th Ranger Regiment and Special Forces. So, for those of you listening that are not too familiar with Special Forces, these are Green Berets. My last job was in charge of an A team. So I think maybe plenty of people have heard of that. Um, and I had started Hero Games Charity about 7 years before retiring. And there's a whole story there. But Counterculture, my for-profit endeavor, was started right at the the tail end of the career. I mean, like last few months. And man, both of those companies are about taking my experience and giving back. We think that giving back to the world is a requirement as a person, right? You've been given all of these blessings in life and therefore have learned things along the way. And why sit around and hold on to those things and not share them with others? And so that's essentially the basis of my life, man, is I enjoy serving. I enjoy the fact that I had the opportunity to serve my country. I now serve my community. I'm a family man. I've been married for almost 20 years and I have 4 kids. And dude, I just feel immensely blessed. Live up in the mountains in Virginia. And life nowadays feels kind of surreal, man. Um, very little hardship as opposed to the past 20 years. A lot of a lot of enjoying kind of the fruits of my labor.
Well, I always have respected Army, the people that work in the Army. So thank you for your service and what you've done. I always like to give thanks to all those. So thank you for what you've done. Um, was joining the Army something that you always kind of wanted to do, or was it kind of spare of the moment?
It was definitely something that I always wanted to do. Really, when I was probably 10 years old, somewhere around there. I'd always enjoyed heroes. There's heroes in everywhere. There are heroes everywhere, but a couple things attracted me back then. First responders, it really seemed attractive to me. And I love the idea of going into a fire, going onto the scene of an accident, helping people. And then, of course, I was exposed to the military culture through movies and books. I mean, I read, gosh, every book I could get my hands on as a kid about the military, but specifically special operations. I wanted to read about the long range reconnaissance teams in Vietnam and um, MAC-V SOG and Navy SEALs and all that stuff. It caught my attention. So I dove headfirst in and just took it all in, fell in love, and thought, hey, if I could do this, that would feel like a career that was worth talking about one day. And that's why I did it. One reason.
When you were in the Army, can you share a little bit about what kind of your role, or a little bit more detail about what your role was and what you kind of witnessed and what your normal everyday tasks were?
Yeah. That changed frequently over my almost 21 years. I guess we could break it down between maybe the Ranger Regiment and Special Forces. So the Ranger Regiment is a wild place. And, when I showed up, I was just exposed to so many things that I had never seen, both good and bad, but mostly good. I mean, the Ranger Regiment is a machine. It operates at a level that we just can't comprehend in the civilian world. I probably wouldn't even understand it anymore. Um, you're talking about dedication at the highest level. You're talking about physical fitness and intellect at the highest level. The best group of people in the world, man, um, coming together for a common purpose. So I spent 5 years in the Ranger Regiment. My job started off as a lowly little private, doing what I was told and just doing my best to survive, go earn my Ranger tab, which I did, and then progress into a leadership position. And I was leading other Rangers by the time I was 21. Uh, First saw combat at 19 years old. And man, there's a lot to talk about there. But stepped into a leadership position at 21. And I mean, that is a young age to be leading other men, especially other men into combat. And I just learned a lot about myself, man. My daily life in the Ranger Regiment, I mean, more or less was every moment was thinking about being a better Ranger. You have to. If that's not where you are, then you're not gonna survive the regiment. So, you know, wake up early, work out early. We did a lot before most people even wake up. Get into work, start the day. We're training, always preparing for war. That could be, small unit tactics in the woods or a rifle range, jumping out of airplanes, shooting big guns, little guns, medium guns, all the guns, driving, everything. And so it was always, as I said, preparing for war and then going to war. My 5 years in the Ranger Regiment, I deployed to combat 4 times and Ranger School the other year that I was not deployed. So quite a fast-paced life. Not a lot of room for anything else. Get off work, get home, take care of your family. That's what I did. was able to meet a beautiful girl in Savannah, Georgia at a young age. And we just grew up together, man, and bought our first home together quite young, had our first child together quite young. And man, she's just a stud of a person. Um, Her ability to run the house for those, 5 years that we were together in the regiment. And man, was not there much, you know. We had our first child in December of '07, and I was deployed the first week of January. So I don't think I saw week 3 of my first child, or my second, or my third. So, um, yeah, I've not seen any of my children turn a month old. But the regiment was an impressive place. It taught me a lot. It prepped me for the remainder of my career and my life. And I'm proud to have served in the 75th Ranger Regiment.
Did you have to kind of travel from across the United States, like constantly move to different bases around the country, or were you lucky enough to kind of stay compact in one location?
That was one of the good things about the special operations community is that they do their best to keep you in one location and offer some stability to your family. It's not easy to be a special operator. You have to go through a selection to earn your spot into the unit. Then you have to earn your spot every day. And so there are a lot of positive perks that they do to keep us around. And that's one of them is they do their best to keep us around, keep us stable.
When it came to being in the special operations career, what's been one moment that was really pivotal to you that really shaped your mindset?
I remember when I was in Special Forces selection. So this is about 6 years into my career. I had left the Ranger Regiment. I'm in Special Forces selection. It's January. It's cold. We were beaten and broken down at this point, and we're doing the STAR course, which is the land navigation test at Special Forces selection. And they essentially start you at midnight. They drop you off, tell you where you are. You have a map and compass, and they're gonna, you're gonna finish 12 hours later after you gather some unknown points, right? So I think it was probably about 4 in the morning, and I was injured. So I had injured myself prior to selection, and I had just made that injury worse in selection. And I remember walking, and it was freezing, and it was raining, and actually it was a big, severe lightning storm. And I'm just, of course, we're by ourselves. Um, and I remember thinking to myself um, and this is the only time I ever thought this. I thought, if this doesn't work out, it's okay. And I had never thought that before, ever. Again, that was only 6 years into my career, so not a lot of time, but I had never been in kind of that feeling of despair. I had never experienced it. And I just remember thinking, because my second child at the time, well, I guess she would have been about 3 weeks old. And I missed her, and I missed my wife, and I missed my other child. And I thought to myself, man, what am I doing? What am I doing? I remember sitting down and leaning against a tree, and you can't stay static for very long because they're tracking you. And if you stay static, they think that you're either dead or dying or quitting. So I knew, hey, I can only sit here for a minute. So I sat down and just leaned against the tree and just thought, man, if I'm fishing with my dad in a year instead of in special forces, it's okay. And I think that at the time that felt like a really dirty thought. You should, I was taught you should never even entertain quitting. And I wasn't entertaining quitting. I was entertaining an alternative. And in some ways, it was freeing, but in other ways, it was a motivator because a couple minutes later, I stood back up and I never thought about it again. And I kept moving. And of course, subsequently passed Special Forces selection and went on to spend over a decade in Special Forces. But that was one of my first exposures to this idea that you do have control over your life. You have control over your actions for sure. But your fate is your fate. It will be. And regardless of what you want, sometimes you can't affect that. And I think that when we can understand, and it's actually a Stoic philosophy, I enjoy Stoicism from maybe an intellectual perspective. I like studying Stoicism. There's an idea, amor fati, to love your fate regardless of what happens. And I think that there's something that we can take away from amor fati and know that, these times may be good, they may be bad, but they will pass for sure. And regardless of what we face, we must face it with our head up, our shoulders back, and understand that this is for us. This is necessary. It's all part of the plan. And so I think that night, that was maybe my first exposure to the idea of amor fati, which I wouldn't learn that phrase for probably another 10 years.
Describe the moment. Do you still actively serve in the army, or did you kind of stop that? They kind of raise a family, or how did? Do you still kind of have thoughts about maybe going back to the army?
Never. No, I don't, man. Um, I'm done with that. That chapter of my life is over. It was beautiful. It was horrible at the same time. And I'm in a different position now, man. And I'm fully in love with where I'm at now. And I think that that's part of, I think that is a necessary piece to being happy and to being successful is convincing yourself that where you are is where you should be and being okay with that and giving right now everything that you have. So no, I don't I don't miss it actually. Every now and then a helicopter will fly over and I'll think, hey, I wouldn't mind my feet hanging out of that, ripping to an objective somewhere to go, you know, do something on behalf of this nation. But that passes rather quickly. I enjoy where I'm at and I'm rather committed to it.
Tell me a little bit about the Heroes Game charity. What led you to start this charity, and what's the main mission that you would like people to take away from?
Yeah, the mission, it's one thing, man. We serve special operations Gold Star families by bringing one new family every year here to our home in Bedford, Virginia. We pay for everything, and we have a big fitness competition in honor of the person that they lost. So we do it one time per year. We only do it here. We pay for everything, and we honor one special operator that was killed in combat. Um, that started in 2017. I was on my way to Afghanistan and, I was looking to actually come home and challenge my brother's CrossFit gym. And, I wanted to see how they performed under a more intense workout. They did great. And so, I deployed, I came back and said, well, let's try this again. Let's see what they got. We did it again and they did great and they loved it again. So we started to look at this and go, hey, I think there may be something here. This is more than just kind of an annual CrossFit-esque competition. And the catalyst, I think, was the passing of one of my company mates. And we did a Hero Games and then took that money and gave it to his wife. And the impact that had on her was shown through a letter that she wrote us a year later. And when we read that letter, man, I think we were like, wow, there's an impact that's been made here that is asking for more. So the next year we actually chose a family to honor, chose a person to honor. And that's what it has grown into now. And the cool thing is, I had 50 volunteers this year, and what I was able to do with myself, my brother, my wife, and his wife, the individuals that founded the organization, was tiny and just a shell of what it is now. Having a staff that's able to put into it in creative ways that we could never have has just grown this thing into something beautiful. We picked up a big sponsorship from Black Rifle Coffee last year. And so we're really excited to see where this thing goes. And the mission's not going to stop. It's going to keep going. We're going to keep doing this until I die, for sure. And we'll see if anyone picks up the torch from there. But it's an honorable mission. It's all about giving back. We make $0 from this nonprofit. We never will. We'll never pay ourselves. Sometimes, when we're putting in weeks and weeks of work and we're tired, we're exhausted, and there is no payment. It starts to feel like work. But then we remind ourselves, hey, man, this is the least that we can do for these families.
As well with the Hero Games charity, you're also the founder of the Counterculture Solution. Between those two organizations that you have going on, what's been the most rewarding part of doing these organizations?
Yeah, that's an easy one, man. It's the relationships. It's the people. It's the people, man. You know, it having the opportunity to meet and make friends with Nikki Dalkey or Kristen Penny, the spouses of my buddies who were killed in combat, and to be able to spend time with them and break bread and talk about, their loved ones and share my stories. Other people share their stories, family share stories, and just be able to connect over something so horrible, so horrific. It's special, man. And to be able to just witness their lives. These are very special people. They lost everything, and yet they continue to persevere through whatever life throws at them. And they're just impressive, beautiful, amazing people. And I'm honored to be able to call people like that my friends. And outside of that, it's all of the other little relationships that are formed as well. The volunteers, the sponsors, the people that attend, the competitors, the spectators. We're all there united under a cause. It's not, some obstacle course race where we're all there to see how strong and fast we are. It's not this. So being united under this intrinsic cause, it's just deeply rooted in our hearts. It's pretty amazing. And then on the counterculture side, being able to share skills with people, and they know that those skills are going to change their lives for the better. Again, dude, it's just super rewarding. So it's about the relationships for me.
Do you still keep in contact with any of all the people that have been through this organization?
Yeah, we stay in contact with every family that we honor. That's part of the deal is we tell them, hey, this is the beginning of a lasting relationship. This isn't just show up to the event. We honor you this year, then you're gone. Like I said, Nikki Dalkey, she and her husband, Jason, who was killed in action in 2009, were honored 2 years ago. Yet, of course, she came that year. Then she came back the next year, and she came back this year. So these are lasting relationships.
Has there been a story from any of the families that have come to this organization that's really touched you and that's really shined and kind of stood out between everyone else, or has it all been kind of the same?
Yeah, they're all so special. Um, One example is Ma Penny. So John Penny was killed in action in 2010 in Afghanistan. He was also a friend of mine, and we brought his mother and his wife to the Hero Games. And I had always known about Ma Penny, his mother, and she's kind of a larger than life figure. Uh, and so we picked her up from the airport, and she was actually in a wheelchair. And that was hard to see in itself. We get her in the car, and her tone and her language was kind of that of someone who was tired. Um, anyway, we proceeded to just show her love, man, for the next week. Poured everything into her, and about halfway through the trip, and this is just crazy, and you can hear it in Ma's own words on our podcast, the Catalyst Collective. She has an episode. We do an episode with each of the families. But halfway through, man, she was no longer using her wheelchair, and it was like insane. And she told us, she was like, I just feel like I've had life poured back into me. And that's the power of love, man. That's the power of acknowledging people and seeing them. And to be able to participate in that and to provide that for John's mother, um, it's you can't get that anywhere else. And so that was very special to us. And we love Ma. And we love that we were able to honor John and to give Ma some deeply rooted energy and kind of revive her heart a little bit. So that was very special.
For the future, where do you hope and see Hero Games charity as well as cancer cultural or counterculture solutions be for the future? Are you hoping to kind of have more um, of a worldwide recognition, or have you had families from overseas come to the United States to come to this to these charities before?
Yeah, so with Hero Games, it'll always be local, man. It's important to us that it's local. We're just doing our part here. We don't want to take it outside of here. Bedford is very special. Um, Bedford is a very patriotic town. In fact, our name at one point was Liberty, and they're now talking about renaming us Liberty again. But we were named Liberty because during the revolution, the locals got together and they actually changed the name from Bedford to Liberty in an act of defiance. And so Liberty has a long history of loving this nation and doing for this nation. Another example is World War II. We have the National D-Day Memorial in Bedford. And the reason that it's here is because we lost more boys per capita on Omaha Beach than any other town in the country. So, you drive down the streets here and you look and you see the faces of those boys that gave their lives. And there's patriots all over the town, but it's a very special place. Hero Games will always be here. That will never change. We have had people suggest that we should take it and grow it, spread it across the country, monetize it. Not interested in that. It's very special. It will be here. Okay. Just like Disneyland, right? Disneyland is, I guess, well, Disneyland and Disney World, we have two, but Disney did not take that to every city, right? Come here,
Right.
come to us, come see us, what we have. In terms of, I guess, our reach, I've had people, we have had people tag us in social media in every continent. So our brand is everywhere. And as for counterculture, right now, my focus is my community. When I get to a point where I feel like I have affected this community to the level in which is satisfactory to me, I'll consider going beyond that. That doesn't mean that you can't come from out of town and come do a course. But right now we're focusing here, and then we'll kind of work our way out.
In your small town, what's been the general public's feedback on this organization? Have you had people say it's a great idea? Have you ever had people say that, I don't know, this is such a good idea? What's been kind of the overall feedback you've received from your local community?
The local community just pours itself out, man. Um, Donating B&Bs, donating flowers, donating food, money. I mean, last year we didn't have any major sponsors. We didn't have Black Rifle to sponsor us last year, yet we raised over $24,000. So the community comes out, man, every single year. And that's, ties into the last question about where we want to take this thing. That's another reason it has to be here, man. This community comes out for Hero Games.
Well, I just really think that this is such a great organization for a lot of veteran families that have lost loved ones, and even just for veteran families in general. It's such a great way for you to support them and everything. What's been, have you been most proud of?
I've been most proud of people who have come to support the cause without question repeatedly for people that they don't know because they just know that it's the right thing. That's what I'm most proud of.
Everything going on right now in the world, what's been your opinion about how the army and how our veterans have had to do now? What's have you seen a huge change in how the army was compared to when you were serving?
It's a big question. Um, Change is constant, and we can't be scared of change. We have to embrace change. We have to know that change is vital. It's important. I think actually change is a beautiful thing. I think that we'd all be rather bored if there was no change in life. I think that people who are resistant towards change are a problem. I think that at the same time, there are things that we should carry forward. And I think there are traditions and ways of operating that we should carry forward. I don't think that we should carry things forward that don't make sense or not logical. So, it's a balance. And the world is ever changing. And we need to understand, especially as a nation, that America's supremacy will not always exist. Therefore, it requires constant work and innovation. And so, I'm proud to have served in the greatest fighting force that the human race ever made. I mean, that is the United States military. That's a beautiful thing. I hope that the next generations carry that torch forward and maintain that. And, as I guess pessimistic as many people are about younger generations and where things are headed now, I saw a lot of capability. I saw a lot of opportunity in young minds. I mean, some of my young Green Berets were amazing. I mean, they're just impressive young men. And so I think that there's a lot of hope. I think with good leadership, I think that we're headed in the right direction. And I'm looking forward to seeing where that goes. And I think there's something special about the United States. I really do. And I hope to see us prosper throughout the entirety of my life, but I also don't feel like that's guaranteed. And I think that adversity is also great for us. So, you know, life is life is always there to challenge us and reveal things that maybe we never expected. So I'm here for it all, man.
Families all over the country have that have been suffering, and they might have loved ones that are in this war right now. What advice do you have for these families that are having a really difficult time, that really they just feel stuck and they don't know where else to go? What advice do you have for them on how they can make it through this really challenging time?
What was vital for me, and conversely, my wife, was our relationship. Um, we were a team, man. We always have been a team. We always knew that we had a safe and comfortable place in each other, that we would have support, not blindly, but adequately, that she was always someone that I could come to. She would always pick up the phone. She would always be there. So presence mattered, and being accessible is so important. So I think that you should lean on your spouse. And I think that if you don't have a spouse, then you should lean on your parents. And if you don't have your parents, lean on your siblings. And if you don't have siblings, find some really good friends, people. It goes back to people, man. And then build more people like you. Have children. My teenage children are awesome. They're so smart. They understand life in ways that, and I never understood when I was their age. It's again back to that younger generation. Wow. Just look at what they're capable of, and we'll see what they do. But that's what I would say is lean on your relationships. Put everything into your relationships. They're going to pay you back. And not that you want to, that payback, because I think it's just intrinsically right for us to pour into each other, but it will pay you back, and you will have that circle that you get to look around one day and go, wow, I'm surrounded by some amazing people. And that's what gets you through.
For people that are listening, that if they would like to support your organizations and maybe would like to learn more about these organizations, if they know someone that might benefit from it or anything, where can they find it? And do you also have any social media platforms that they could also find you at? Feel free to just plug everything that you have going on.
Of course, yeah, we're very easy to find. We've done all the Google SEO, man. We're very easy to find. So herogamescharity.com. I would recommend you go there, watch the video on the homepage. It's 7 minutes long. It's going to tell you exactly who we are and what we do. That's going to set the tone. If you like it, then you're in the right place. If you don't, that's fine. Um, but you're going to like it, and that's going to make you want to look deeper. We have all sorts of things to offer with Hero Games. If you want to wear the apparel, that's always good for us, getting our brand around there. Like I said, we've had our brand on every continent. Um, if you want to support us monetarily, that's easy too. It's right there on our website. We can promise you that every dollar that you give us is going exactly where you think it's going. It's not paying my house payment. It's not getting me a nice car next year. It's going towards the organization. It's directly fulfilling the mission, every single dollar. On the counterculture side, counterculturesolutions.com. Same thing. Super easy to find. See what we're doing. Buy some merch, wear the brand. We have courses that you can look at on there. We have mentoring. I have mentoring clients. We have mentoring clients within the team. We do personal firearms training. We do treks, all sorts of courses, violence avoidance, lots of stuff, man. So you go to those two websites, play around for 15, 20 minutes, see what you think. And of course, social media associated with both of those: Instagram, Facebook. We have YouTube. We have a podcast called The Catalyst Collective. Again, you get to our website, all that stuff is right there. It's all linked.
And I will put all of his links down in the description box below. I'll put his website down there. I'll put all of his social media links down there as well, just so for easy access so that you all can find his website easy, and highly recommend you guys support it. I think this is such a great organization that they have going on. It's something that I think a lot of military families, either current or past, would really benefit from, and even future military families will find comfort in this. So I appreciate you for sharing this with me and my audience, and I wish you nothing but the best on this amazing journey. It's such a great organization. So thank you so much for sharing it with me.
Yeah, thank you. No, I appreciate it, man. It's an honor. It's an honor to serve. That's what we're going to continue to do. We're going to continue to do it at a high level because we don't know any other way. And I appreciate your time.
No worries. And if you would like to keep updates of the podcast, feel free to follow me on social media as well, Instagram and TikTok at Lethal Venom Podcast, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube as Noah's Podcast. Feel free to follow those social media accounts if you'd like to keep updates about the podcast on the social media side. And you can also follow Lethal Venom wherever you get your podcast from. It's available on all the major platforms: Spotify, Apple, Amazon, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Pandora. It's everywhere. So feel free to subscribe to the podcast on there so that you'll get notified of when new episodes come out. Thank you to all my listeners for tuning in today's episode. I appreciate you all so much. Hope y'all all have a great rest of your day and week. Stay safe, make good decisions. I'll see you on the next episode of Lethal Venom.